Judgment Day is near. We've got full moon eclipse. Conclusions are within reach. And we're pretty close to a full moon coming up on the 1st on Beltane. Actually, full moon in Scorpio. But this is just daisy chaining off of the last reading with that moon energy right at the end, that it seemed like things were going well, going through that difficult task of breaking away from vices and therefore the groups attached to those vices, something like that. But then right at the end, it's like there was that energy of your movement or your progress being impeded in some way, or that's the idea. So I wanted to dig further into that moon energy, and I thought today would be a good day for that, because right now the moon is in Cancer, so it's coming up on that full moon. But where I'm getting Judgment Day from, little bibliomancy, courtesy of my cat. She was pawing at this while I was getting ready for the reading, so I just took that as a sign to do some bibliomancy. And she is named after a war goddess, so take that for what you will. And so this is the second book of Enoch, chapter 45. Whoever hurries to make offerings before the Lord's face, the Lord will hasten that offering by giving of his work. But whoever increases his lamp before the Lord's face and makes a judgment that is not true, the Lord will not increase his treasure in the realm of the highest. Note, whoever makes himself out to be more than he is, and whoever judges others without truth or cause, the Lord will not reward in heaven. When the Lord demands bread or candles or the flesh of beasts or any other sacrifice, it is nothing. But God demands pure hearts, and with all he does, it is only the tests of man's heart. And then it goes further on to talk about like having evil in the heart but presenting as good, and when judgment time comes, neither the just nor the unjust will go unnoticed. So some sort of manipulation maybe going on in the background, which I already had the Game of Thrones deck out for this, so that seems kind of right on the nose. So we'll start getting some cards out here and see what this Judgment Day is about. Because I'm kind of wondering if this full moon eclipse, if it's like the death rattle, if you will, of this situation. Because it's like things want to be illuminated, but then something quickly tries to come in and like cover it, but it only lasts for a really brief amount of time. So let's see. What do we need to know about the full moon eclipse? The moon, okay. Very hidden, very covert, as the clock chimes. And this was a very covert moment right there in Game of Thrones. What's his bucket? Baelish? He was manipulating her before he like Sparta kicked her through the door. So very manipulative and hidden. What else about that? But I think that was so he could take control of the Knights of the Vale, maybe? And we've got 3 of coins in reverse. Yeah, not wanting to work together, like destroying partnerships, conquering. So that's what's going on in the background. Someone wants to conquer you? Gross. Because like in modern contexts, like that just gives me red pill alpha bro nonsense, like domineering The Tower. Wow. What a lot of intense energy right up front. I think the candle agrees with all the flickering. And the Tower, like another reference to somebody getting pushed out of something. Someone's trying to push you out of a spot? Is this like a work thing? Like there's a promotion or something? Like you're in the same candidate pool? Maybe it's high stakes, like an actor or something, you know, competing for those roles, like auditioning and whatnot. I think it's a far different process than like what I've gone through for office jobs and stuff. But just that heavy major arcana vibe up front. The moon and the Tower. Like hidden destruction. This is like taking down a business. Like, do you have your own business and somebody's a competitor and they want to take down your business? Because I don't feel good about that combo, the moon and the Tower. And what else about these? But that's very, like, on the nose. Game of Thrones, betray people, like, kick them out of towers. And, yeah, of course there's going to be some judgment for all that once everybody figures out what's going on. Enterprise, Jupiter in Aries, and Patience, Jupiter in Virgo, but this is in reverse. Trying to cut corners. It's like they're trying to kneecap the competition because, like, their business is mediocre. Like, they can't compete with the other person, so they have to do something sneaky to, like, undercut them or something. What else? Because if I remember correctly from that last reading, I think it was reading as you, the querent, was just staying in your lane. Like you were doing your own thing. But then I think there was examples, work examples too, that were coming up of like, people might try to test you, you know, the new manager or something. Resourcefulness. Sun in Cancer, and it's in reverse. So they're not like resourceful enough to develop their own business, their own whatever, maybe skills for an interview. I don't know, it feels like stacking the deck. But it's going to be seen, like Judgment Day. But it feels like there's still, I don't know if it's time passing or this is right now. Because these were fairly, like these were immediate moments in the show. Because when I got the dice roll, Pisces, South Node, third house, I was thinking that might be like shadow work to be done in the interim, like as we go through this lunar cycle. So maybe there's South Node things going on wherever you have Pisces or whatever in the third house in your chart. But these two cards, like this makes it feel like now. And maybe that's just the impression from the show, the timing could be, what, September is when the next eclipse is, I think. Something like that. Could just be the vibe, though. So what do we need to know about this, like, underhanded, shady... Seems like just trying to get the competition out of the way rather than actually competing with them. More gifts from my cat. No, almost flipping. We're thinking about it. Here we go. Hold your vision. Fixed moon. Stay the course. Stay true. Maybe this is just a distraction. I mean, getting kicked out of a tower would be very distracting, admittedly. But if you don't engage, they can't kick you out of the tower. Like, if you don't even go near the moon door, disrupt them while they're in the tower, you know, might be able to head this off. Because maybe you know this about whomever you're in a situation with, that they're schemy, scammy, whatever, but they're trying to do something underhanded to regain power, control, dominion, what have you. So hold your vision. What do we need to know about that? A lot of almosts. So distractions along the way. Ace of Spears. It's Ace of Wands. And Knight of Cups in reverse. I don't like that combination either. This is like trying to distract you with a fake lover or something. And, I mean, that's Oberyn Martell's spear. Admittedly distracting. Very much so. The candle thing. I think I just went blank. Like, my mind went to static. But Ace of Spears and Knight of Cups, like, this is not somebody who means what they say. Angry. Like, there's a lot of passion. I mean, if they're putting that much effort into actually being a contender, they probably would be. I don't know what the problem is. So what else about this Casanova? Knight of Cups. Clock chimed right as I said that. Right as I said Casanova. Maybe a movie night is in order. Watch that. Because that's that dishonest, like evil in the heart, smile on the face that those passages were talking about. It's like somebody that's not anticipating. There goes my right ear. It's ringing. Somebody that's not anticipating that you know, like, about love bombing and things like that. Just telling you everything you want to hear. We've got the Chariot. And I'm feeling that motion energy. This is a lot more... What does this bring into mind? Like someone making you feel special. Like that's such a red flag. Like just at first brush that you're soulmates, or I don't know, they read your aura across the room, something like that. Even if that's something that you wanted them to do, that's invasive to not be asking for consent and things like that. But it's that kind of vibe. The, oh, you're the one and only person. You know, the twin flame kind of stuff that people will do. And this feels familiar. I don't know if this is like an old cycle coming up, or this is just like something that this person does. Like they're out of plays. I don't know. Because this scene in the Chariot, that's when Daenerys was given that speech, like an inspirational speech to, gosh darn it, what are they called? Dothraki. I think that's right. But it's that kind of pump you up, you know, hype you up, get past your defenses sort of thing. Domination, yeah. That's definitely, it feels like what's going on here. Mars in Sagittarius. Somebody really skilled at like mental warfare. But again, it's like if you just put all that energy into being a contender, like you'd probably be a really good one. It's just directed at the wrong place. It's like ego. It's like a grudge. So what else about domination? Restlessness. Mercury in Aries. Seduction. Jupiter in Pisces. That's exalted. And generosity. Saturn in Leo. And this is very like preachy, giving a sermon. It's like trying to paint a picture of like the perfect person, or what they anticipate your perfect person would be, you know, even keeled, seductive, generous, distracting. But it seems like it's a farce. And it seems like one that will be revealed quickly, because it seems like there's not time to wait. Like it'd be somebody that's trying to push the timeline up on sleepovers. And boundaries are like the antidote to love bombers. So what am I getting here? So this feels like two people. This feels like the competitor that for some reason maybe both are going for the same thing, same job, same, I don't know, small business loan, something like that. I don't know why two businesses would be going head to head like that. Maybe it's a personal vendetta. I don't know. But Casanova over here feels like a different person. I don't know if that's someone that they work with, but it's feeling a little coordinated, which appropriate for Game of Thrones. Um, but there's more and more things I'm seeing come out about like coercive control and things like gang stalking and whatnot. Is Dr. Jessica Taylor? She just published a book about online stalking and why it's not taken as seriously as in person, and she's got a lot of good info too on her Instagram just by itself. So what do we need to know about Casanova? Because I feel like I don't know what Casanova's end in this is. Just somebody that's taken this person's side. Like this person is like, they're the devil. And Casanova over here is like, okay, let's ruin their life. People just operate on one-sided information. I don't know, thriving on drama. Like, man, I love minding my own business. I really, really do. It's one of my favorite things to do. So what else about Casanova? A little quiet. It's time to take action. New moon in Aries. Well, that's definitely the body. It's leading to a new start. Because new moon in Aries, that's like the very beginning of the wheel to me. That new lunar cycle, first sign of the zodiac. Casanova wants a new beginning. They've got some sort of investment, maybe, in the new beginning that this competition could lead to. And I feel like you are not even in competition with anybody that's involved in this. Like, you're just in your lane trying to live your life, improve it, you know, maybe get a better job, something like that. An acting role. I don't know. Auditioning for a band. So what do we need to know about new moon in Aries? 10 of coins in reverse. This is not the one. It's immediately what I'm getting. It's not ultimate material happiness. And that can mean family. Doesn't necessarily have to be money. Or they're not going to get this new beginning to the 10 of coins. Could be that too. Oh, give me a little bit more. What about this 10 of coins? 4 of cups in reverse. So it's not that you're in competition with them, but also don't be apathetic to these attempts at sabotage or anything like that if you get wind of anything. Because the premise was that this is something that's happening in the background. And it's not to say you need to go like into the grass looking for snakes, anything like that, but just like operate with goodness in your heart. You're like what those passages were getting at, like be true do things the right way the first time, so that if for whatever reason there is some sort of scrutiny, or you need to make your case for a loan, something like that, everything's already in place. Like, it's just already there. Because this other methodology, if you will, of doing things in the shady, scammy, schemy way, if something messes up the master plan, then there's going to be a lot of scrambling to cover your tracks and things like that. If you just operate honestly from the jump, don't have to worry about that. And it seems like, at least from what I've observed, is doing things the honest way is much harder. That's what leaves the door open for temptation along the path to, like, cut corners and things like that. So it's like doing things the dishonest way leads to short-term gains, and doing things the honest way leads to long-term gains and short-term discomfort. It just seems like this world doesn't want to reward doing things the right way. I don't know why. We've got both the 7 and the 8 of coins in reverse. Interesting. This is a well-shuffled deck. So it's an increase of proceeding, but not to the desired outcome. Because there's impatience, which leads to, like, shoddy work. I almost feel like the 4 of Cups could have also been an opportunity to do things the right way that was declined. Like, you could have gone left or right, and instead of going down the right way, you went left. Or whomever you're dealing with, however that perspective fits. But it's like this new cycle, whatever the full moon vibe is bringing to the surface. It's going to show the dishonesty. It's like getting caught doing, I don't know, business crimes. I don't know what business crimes are. Fraud, things like that. The sort of stuff that, like, I don't know, something got caught in an audit, maybe? Let's see. So what else about this not new start? Discrimination. Venus in Virgo. And decision in reverse. Mars in Gemini. Is this like a work discrimination thing? Because I was talking about stacking the deck. And there's that chessboard there. So decision, it's like the play was made with insufficient information. Because if you're in, like, an organization, a larger one, actually, I mean really anyone, there's going to be a lot of people involved in an interview process. And if we just stay on that path of somebody's being, like, very manipulative, trying to knock you out the way, there could be things like triangulation, I think is the word. Kind of getting to bend the ear of people involved before you get there to kind of like set an impression. Could even be like, might even call that a smear campaign, maybe. That might be a little bit too overt, though. Because stacking the deck, it'd be like subtly taking digs at you. You know, maybe you're part of a marginalized group, something like that. But then bolstering up this other person, that like twofold process to kind of destabilize the perception of both people. Like it's more positive, like artificially more positive on one side and artificially more negative on the other. So what else about this? There's big consequences, though, for discrimination if that's caught. That's no joke, because that's disgusting behavior, inexcusable. Acquisition, can I read upside down? Sun in Taurus and independence, moon in Aquarius. Sun and the moon. But they're both in reverse. So something was not acquired, this new start. And therefore independence too. Because like something like this, it wouldn't be just that person didn't get promoted. Maybe Casanova, whomever. But it's that person didn't get promoted and job loss is likely on the table if that's caught. Because that's just not okay. That's one of those non-negotiable, zero tolerance. It's 2026. We all know this is not okay. People still feel enabled and entitled to do those things, probably because they're operating within a system that encourages that by and large, you know. All the things we see kind of burbling up right now in the online discourse. I think in the, what's the opposite of the manosphere? Manosphere, the womanosphere? That doesn't roll off the tongue quite right. But in spaces concerning women's issues, I'm seeing a lot more open criticism of just like, how do you not see this? How do you not see what's going on? And how do we defend ourselves against this? I don't know. It's a complicated question. I feel like there's such insufficient resources because it's a resource intensive process to go up against discrimination, or if somebody's just harassing you about your business. And then those things, like it's this vicious cycle of your money is getting hurt and you need money to fight back. And like, what do we do? I don't know. So, well, and this person also, the way this is all operating is in the background, so they know what they're doing is wrong. Like, no matter what comes out of the mouth, the behavior speaks 1,000 words. But it seems like this was an obstacle, potentially, to whatever you're trying to accomplish. Maintain a business, whatever the case may be. So what does this mean for you? What are we looking at now that this has all been identified. And if that is something that you're dealing with, I am sorry to hear that. If you can get mental health support for that, like therapist support group, I highly recommend. Those are difficult situations to be othered, to be abused at work like that. And people make excuse after excuse after excuse for people at their big age not acting right when they know better. So what does this mean for the obstacle being removed? What's next? And this was the death rattle was the phrase that I used. So something brought this to the surface. There was like a disturbance in the force. I'm trying to think. What brought this up? Maybe that's a better question. What brought this to the surface? Just take the bottom one. You're very close to achieving your goal. Gibbous moon. That's almost full. Is it just time passing? Divine timing? With Uranus, whichever way you want to say that, moving into Gemini. It's like that's the stirring that brought these things forward. So what else about this? 3 of Cups in reverse. This was celebrated too early. Maybe with Casanova. I saw that little flicker. I was waving that around now. But somebody celebrated too early. Maybe that's what brought it to the surface. Somebody was bragging, like, about being evil. I know, about being a bully. Like, why does that make you feel good? I don't know, I have a lot of disdain for bullying. It's one of those things I put in the non-negotiable, zero tolerance bucket, just like discrimination. But 3 of Cups, that's just partying too early. Maybe got a little too liquored up and just slipped. I don't know. Inhibition control compromised. Page of Cups, yeah. That's a young, immature energy that's kind of grossed out by the fish in the cup. Maybe that is the reaction to this person, or now what's being seen like behind the mask is that immaturity, and it's not a good look. Like a public fall from grace is what I'm getting. And I mean, if somebody gained riches, abundance, prosperity off of using the marginalized as a footstool, yeah, they should be shamed. That's my position on it. Maybe it's a little harsh, but I think the pendulum has swung a little bit too far on this, like, no shaming at all. There is such a thing as healthy shame. It can quickly become distorted and applied in inappropriate ways and things like that. But that's a big function of like a cohesive society, is being able to point out like the wrongdoer, the person that's operating in the background that we need to be worried about. Like, we need to know what's going on. And that follows the stereotype prejudice of like women gossiping. Gossiping served a function, a safety function, once upon a time, and it still does if used correctly. But it's sharing information about who's abusive, about what happened to you, because abusive people don't abuse every single person that they come into contact with. So it's like, it's a weird intersection of ethics and morality and whatnot, because I know there's like, what is it, libel? You got to be careful about how you talk about things, so that you don't yourself get in trouble. And I think it's important too to have ways to get your story out, to talk about these things. It's therapeutic. Support groups, that's a great way. Therapy, also. Faceless YouTube channels where you yammer on while you do things, that works too. Whatever works for you. But that's the sort of thing that, like, when somebody does something terrible to you, because discrimination is basically like, you're born wrong. Like, you are wrong just for existing, which, disgusting behavior. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Maybe it'll come back. I don't know. Six of Spears. Yeah, this was not wanted to be seen, because it's in reverse. And this is right around one of my favorite scenes in Game of Thrones. It's when she fakes out the trade for Drogon, and, like, surprise, she speaks Valyrian, like, this whole time, and she hasn't said anything. When, also, it was pretty obvious. Like, she's a Targaryen. Why wouldn't she know Valyrian? That was kind of a glaring oversight. Yeah. But, like, that's one of those, like, when I need a boost for whatever it is I'm dealing with, that's in my roster. Like, watch that real quick. But what else do we need to know about this? Oh, the thing that I was gonna say earlier. It's like, when somebody does something terrible to you, it's like, how dare you tell people what I said and did? Like, if you had such a problem with it, like, why are you doing it? And it's because they're being cruel, really. And they didn't anticipate getting caught. They didn't anticipate things being seen. And that's just like a, here's your sign. If the thing that bothers them is that they're seen and not that they hurt you, and that can quickly become revealed, because those apologies, quote unquote, those will fall apart really quickly once you actually start contextualizing stuff. Endurance. Sun in Scorpio. The Trials of Hercules. And in reverse. So this person is done. There's no more fight left. The situation is over. It's being seen. I don't know if it's going to quite breach the surface at the moment. But it's like the foundation's cracking in the background. You know, the social circle, the Three of Cups, is seeing the true nature, like seeing behind the mask. The public loss is being seen, public humiliation, which can be an antagonistic person's like worst nightmare. And let's not forget what they did to other people. I'm not saying tar and feather people, but how much humiliation was that other person put through, like being discriminated against? It's such a damaging thing to your psyche. It can leave you with PTSD, it's like anything related. It's a serious issue, and people don't take it seriously. They treat it like teasing, and that was actually a trigger that I worked through this morning. Just working through some irritation, and something disappointing happened, and I kind of got frozen in place in like a emotional flashback. That's the complex PTSD part. And it brought me back to that feeling of me not being allowed to experience disappointment in my home growing up, because I would get like mocked, like in a really melodramatic way, like making up a song and things like this. Is really nasty stuff now that I look back as an adult. But then if I tried to say things, like I'm upset, like for real, and then it turned into, oh, well, I was just teasing, like you shouldn't be so upset, you're so sensitive. And it just kept going down this path, and it would always end up at like an ad hominem finger pointed at me, that I was the problem for having emotions in response to the thing, which I very much disagree with. We've got romance in reverse. Venus in Taurus, and that's exalted, but in reverse. So this Casanova construct, it didn't work. Maybe that's your 7 deadly sin, lust. It definitely gets the best of us, for sure. I know mine, I struggle with wrath and lust, and that crossover too that they have, the bloodlust. That's a feature of PTSD. The revenge fantasies, those can get pretty intense, and that takes a lot of self-acceptance to work through. I think as part of shadow work, acknowledging that it's normal to be filled with the rage of 1,000 suns for some things that people are put through, things that are unimaginable. Discrimination and worse. When you're just trying to live your life, and then you end up carrying the consequences of other people's wounds because they didn't deal with what's going on in their shadow. So they just put it all on you. So that could be where this like betrayal stuff is originating from. Maybe they're trying to tear down your business. Man, this is giving me Salem witch trials too. Like trying to tear down your business because you're successful and independent, and like women aren't allowed to be that way. That was a big component of the Salem witch trials, like it being a land grab and undercutting women who were successful in the communities with their own business, and they ended up having their own land, and there's a big thing with the Putnams and all that. But it's like, how dare women be successful? Or maybe it's another marginalized group. But it's like this person is hell-bent on tearing you down because you are in a meat suit that they don't like, which is dumb. If you don't like it, like, avert your gaze. Do something else. Read a book. Negotiation, Jupiter in Libra, and health, Sun in Virgo, but that's in reverse. Is this making them sick? Like all that hate is festering? Hate by design. Kill Switch Engage. That song just came to mind. But now they want to negotiate? It's like they've tried everything that they have in their power to bring you down, and it didn't work. And now they want to negotiate. Now they want to wave the white flag. No! Not a chance. And of course, it's your decision. Live your life. But I feel like if you don't get an apology prior to consequences, it's insincere. And again, maybe that's a little harsh from my side to go with the I don't feel bad for them for like public shaming. But it's just going to be in one ear and out the other for me if consequences came first. Like, you knew this was bad behavior. You did it anyway. And then you didn't apologize until you got caught. It doesn't mean anything to me. And it's making me think of like when cheaters get caught and they have that meltdown. Like, you are the one that did something wrong. But the way that they're reacting is it's like sucking all the air out of the room so that they're the victim. Like, no, you're the perpetrator. Like, you're the agitator here in all this. But it just feels like the mask is coming off. And this feels like a lot of big energy too. And there's a lot of that celestial movement as well in the air. Like, there's a lot of tension I've been feeling. Like, just in myself, from other people. Grounding exercise. If you like to eat for your chakras, you can make a red meal. Eggs in Purgatory, one of my favorites. Or something with root vegetables, like ground you down. Yoga, stuff like that. Floor time. I did floor time today. It was great. And I figured out it's a way to summon my cat. I don't know if she hears my bones creaking as I get down to the floor, but she just knows. So now, if I ever need to get her out of her hidey hole, I just lay down on the floor. How many is this? I'll take all three. Why not? Why not? We need options. Things are busy. Stressful. I cannot read my own handwriting. Night Crawling? Miley Cyrus? Is that the one with Stevie Nicks? It might be. Take yourself out to a meal. You can also get yourself a red meal. Get the red sauce on your burrito. And it is like warming up. It's kind of like still fluctuating, you know, maybe there's somewhere new that is near you that you can walk. And then oxytocin, Billie Eilish. Interesting that I got both pop artists, which is not my typical, you know, I typically listen to metal. Um so maybe that's just try something new, you know, mix up the energy, kind of kick the dust up. The clock seems to agree with me. But maybe you're like me and you do listen to metal or more aggressive music more often. Maybe need to lift the mood a little bit. I know I catch myself like, okay, I've been listening to that really like kind of guttural, like Lamb of God sort of stuff. I need to change it up a little bit. So pick up the mood, add a little novelty into your routine, however that ends up working for you, because I know all of us are burnt out, exhausted right now, but something new might give you a little boost. So, overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.